everybody, welcome to another episode of So You Want to Be an Authortuber, a freebie course as part of Soul Bard Academy. I'm Jenna O'Malley, your soul writer, author of sci-fi fantasy with dashes of romance and nerdy references, and congratulations! You have officially completed half of the course, so definitely have to remind you, you got to keep trying. It seems like a lot of groundwork, totally worth it. So if you need time to go ahead and either get the links in the description box where you need them to be with the slides and taking your notes, or if you need a beverage, or to take care of anything of that nature, now's the time to do so, because it's time to rock it. Welcome on back, everybody. So let's go ahead and talk about Chapter 4 or Episode 4, depending on if you're in the workbook or in the slides with me taking notes. We're going to start putting things together and really hardcore start laying some foundations for you. There is going to be an advanced supplementary course where you will actually see me click for click build a stream from the ground up coming for you here soon. So let's, in the meantime, make sure you have your notes for the video lesson for starting the engine and your SEO. So what exactly is this SEO thing? Search engine optimization. Basically, how can you make things like Google search play in your favor? Nay, how can you even just simply make YouTube search play in your favor? Early on, before you even actually post your first video, live, short, or whatever. So branding tips. First and foremost, let's look at what you're going to call this thing. Nowhere yet have I actually told you, consider what you're going to call your channel. You will also have your Gmail account connected to that channel, so it becomes your Gmail login and everything of that nature. Some people who have a login just for their YouTube channel will maybe keep everything to the channel associated with it. For some of us who are authortubers, we tend to use our Gmail for everything, which I do. That is up to you and depending on how you want to manage things in the backstage. Names do matter, though. Consider the workshop I completed previously here on my YouTube channel about character names for fictional works. That can also apply even here to your branding. I mean, in business, a name that sticks out matters. Some of us have very common names. My name, Jenna, nowadays is even more common than what my real first name or what other versions of Jenna are. Jennifer, Jenny, Genevieve, all of them are super popular, and now Jenna is kind of up in that echelon. I know there's a lot of us here who are Jennas. I know a lot of Jens. I even know other authors who are Jennifers and whatnot. So I took a risk as an author keeping my name so common. I lucked out that the only super popular Jenna O'Malley or Jenna O persons out there, one is a politician and one is Wednesday Addams, Jenna Ortega. So I'm like, oh, Jenna O'Malley, not very common. Okay, so I almost called my channel my author name. Instead, something else from my past kept talking to me. I have this character that I used to play in role-playing games and tabletop and video games and whatnot, that their power was to resonate with the soul. And that character has always been very near and dear to my writer heart. So I'm like, you know what? I was a soul fighter once upon a time. Why can't I be a soul writer? And that's what stuck. That's the little tidbit on the end that I was like, that's my branding. It's a little upper echelon, but that's okay. For me, it definitely resonates into my work. So if you have a channel name or maybe your LLC name that is very powerful to you, maybe consider that as your channel name. So those are some business decisions you could really start considering now instead of later. You don't want to hide in plain sight. You do not want to blend in. You want to fit within the niche, but you still want to be a fish of your own design and color in your own pond. So take this time to start considering early many things. Consider the different impacts here of what your name could be. Okay, pardon my sandbox moment a little bit. But you can see here on screen now They're both relatively the same length for Jenna O'Malley Author, which is what my Facebook name is under even, versus Jenna the Soul Writer, okay? So you really have to consider what fits, what flows, what sounds good, sticks out, and makes you stand out as your authentic self, the most and easiest. And yes, I do emphasize you should try to consider cross-promoting, cross-connecting your names. For example, let me scroll back. If we look here, most of what I do is at Jenna the Soul Writer, or because Facebook and Instagram were really mean to me about a year or two ago, at Jenna the Soul Writer O'Malley is where I had to go with that. So you could literally make it to where all of your socials have a very simplistic at. So if you're asked to do interviews or things of that nature, you can quickly spit it out to somebody. It also takes up a lot less room on things like swag, business cards, postcards, and whatnot, if you only need to just say, you can find me at this everywhere. A little bit of a learned lesson on my part. Facebook and Instagram can sometimes be really mean and cost you your own at. It's called a lock loop. I'm in a loop on my original account on Instagram. They won't let me back in no matter what I try. So much for changing a password, right? And then, of course, you need to, beyond your name, consider your basic color theory with your branding. If you notice, I tend to use the colors that are in my Phoenix logo. So purple, reds, a little bit of blues because, you know, red and blue make purple, but also yellows and golds tend to show up a lot in my branding. I will use the monochrome white, gray, black, silver if I need to for an additional color pop, which works anyway because a certain high priestess turned princess turned immortal queen goddess person back there exists in the astral realm, and to her, that's the colors of the astral realm. So it even connects back into something with my books as far as some of my color referencing. And phoenixes play a big role in my books, so you don't have to make it all that interconnected. You can if you decide to, or realized halfway through like I did that it was happening anyway, so lean into it. You do want to consider not just what you're doing as far as your physical setup technologically wise in your physical space, but also what you decide to do to decorate it. I'm still playing around with everything from my lighting to, do I want photos in the background? Do I want my Funko Pops in the background? Be careful of brand copyrights, especially with the mouse. Anyway, some brands are very, very finicky about you showing fans stuff. So the theory sometimes becomes, put it way back in the background, like mine, my Funkos, when they are on screen, people have to kind of go, which one is that? So that's kind of on purpose. Do you want to show a bookcase? Do you want to show a study? Do you want it to be decorated in fairies, dragons? Do you want it to be a certain beach motif? All of those things you can start playing with now and deciding now for your physical space, but use what you have. That's how I started. Literally, I think the biggest purchase I made decoration-wise the first 6 months I was doing YouTube were tapestries from Amazon for like $10 to $15. So, emphatically so, use what you have. Now, if you do indeed have a budget to play with, have at. I'm not going to stop you. I do emphasize that you start tracking those business purchases the way you're supposed to if you have not done so already, so that way you can properly use them in tax time and things. On the other hand, you want to also start building your set in your virtual space. Yes, this means making epic use of content that maybe you've already put up on your Instagram, your Facebook, your newsletter. Maybe you want to also put a note up on one of those feeds saying, hey, I have this new YouTube channel, come follow me there. You have followers elsewhere. Good. Good. If you are watching this video, you probably have a ton of people on AuthorTube you already know and don't even realize it yet. Why? I'll kind of get to that here in a moment, but cross-promotion is a great way to also start building now. You could start taking content pictures of you building your YouTube channel to put on that other stuff to help you get the word out even, okay? You could be tracking, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, I just bought this thing. Do an unhauling reel, or maybe you do some of that for your own channel and use some of it. You could start recording content this early if you would so like to use it anytime on any other platform. The sky is the limit on what you could be doing to start even just building your content while you're actually building your set and your virtual spaces. Yes, I do think Canva is probably one of the best places, powerhouse wise, to do what you need to do. I will mention in the next episode or two other places where you could digitally build your space. I personally adore and love Canva just because I can literally make my videos, make my slides, make my workbooks, make my everything here and save them into folders digitally together without having to save them also in like OneDrive, Google Drive, or Dropbox or something like that. You might want to do that as a backup. Speaking of backups, now is a great time to start investigating algorithm tools to help you grow your channel. vidIQ and TubeBuddy by Ben Labs, I'll link them both below, definitely are the top two options I've seen people on YouTube in general go back and forth between using. There's also some other videos I have linked below to help you start understanding tools and methods of gaining foothold in the algorithm early and make it feel like your first video is performing way better and maybe not floundering so much. These tools are great for walking through with what tags are trending right now, help with writing some of your titles or refining your titles that are algorithm friendly, things of that nature. Notice that a lot of videos that tend to do like 3 ways to blank or 7 ways how whatnot thing happened tend to do really well. These two platforms will also teach you how to use something as simple as parentheses in your title to your benefit to make it gain foothold sooner in the algorithm, not later. So there's also a big debate that's going on as YouTube moves into its Generation 4 algorithm over this summer. Are channel intro videos dead? Not just the, hi, here's who I am and what I do videos that some people will put up for new subs only. And then once you sub, that video tends to go to a different video they've preset for subscribers. Also, they're considering whether or not having like a theme opening. If you hang around here, you've noticed my Phoenix at the beginning and the end, made by Books by Adrian, right? And if you want to go ahead and see someone who does make them pretty well, check Adrian out. You could also make your own in Canva for very little cost, in my opinion. So, are they dead? There is a split debate on that, and I would like you to take the time to decide where you stand on the debate for your channel instead of me prescribing my bias one way or another. These are the videos I've checked recently for my own decision process, so have at, enjoy. What you really want to also start considering is getting ads out and marketing out and word out to people to collaborate with you early and to be kind of like a street team. We will talk more about both of those in the next couple of episodes toward the end of this course, but you want to start picking a date where your first video, short, whatever, tab you choose to function in first and foremost will launch. You want to kind of hit the ground running with some cheerleaders behind you. Again, this is where you're going to reach out to any newsletter subscribers you may have, IG, FB, Twitter. Maybe if you have a gaming community you're friends with on Discord, or maybe if you're not afraid to share your book journey with your coworkers. Because I know some people who follow me write stuff that is steamy, and I know a lot of people who follow me don't. So if you're like, I write children's books, I want to get out the word, by all means. I don't see where your boss would be any harm of asking, would it be conflict of interest if I just dropped this on the bulletin board in the lounge? Teachers' lounges had those once upon a time at some schools I worked at, is why I say that. What can you do to launch your channel with a crowd behind you? Those are things you should start journaling and configuring now, because very soon you're going to be realizing I can grow my channel through promos and collaboration a lot faster than I can just doing this on my own. So that's why there's always this air of what can I give back to the community here in AuthorTube specifically, I think. And I enjoy leaning into it because you meet so many amazing people. So if you want to go ahead and continue with the next episode and into the next set of journals with me, go ahead and check the description box below, shuffle any papers you need, and wow, meet me over there. So after you are done with the notes from the video lesson, we're going to consider a brainstorm first and foremost. What names do I want to call my channel? Yes, you can open up a new Gmail address if you want it different from something you may already have in place. That's your decision. No one's going to tell you wrong. No one's going to tell you you're wrong. Rank your above options, and we're going to go back to what we did in a previous exercise. How do 5 people feel about it? Help you pick your top 3. Record their reactions, make a final decision, and that way it's not just you being a soundboard into an abyss and feel like you're talking to your own echo. So what branding colors appeal to me and why? I highly suggest that you check out the color wheel. That's why I have blues and yellows and stuff, because they complement. Stuff that sits next to each other and across from each other tend to work best on the color wheel. Look into what you have on any branding you may or may not already have in place, and do you want to keep it? Do you just want to play with shades? Do you want it to look more like a certain art style even? Like, do you want it to be more pastel, watercolors, things of that nature? I went with jewel tones, for example. What type of vibe, feel, aesthetic do you want? And give examples of other channels if you need visual clarity. Kind of build yourself a little bit of a vision board if you feel you need to. Or if you want to write, you're welcome. Do not forget, I gave you bonus pages to print. Oh, I gave you bonus pages to print for a reason. Sorry for whacking the table there. What are some more general tags that can relate to my channel? Well, we're talking about what you could advertise on the front end of your channel. Like, is it all about writing journey? Did you include planning? Are you, like, for some of what I do, one of the things I tend to bring up during Q2 and part of Q3 is mental health awareness, because Mental Health Awareness Month is May, and I tend to try and do things around the Camp NaNoWriMo before and after that May to really help people boost their morale as my theme for that. But I don't always outwardly advertise that's what I'm doing. That's up to you. This would also be some good tag hunting for specific topics, because for me, like, I will tag specific videos, like my books, the Myrna Annals, they get tags that are related to their genres. Dark fantasy, paranormal romance, things of that nature. Now, my videos that are about things for my writing sprints have tags that are friendly for people looking only for writing sprints. And that's where the vidIQ and the TubeBuddy type tools come in handy, especially when you're considering some of those tags can change, you know, like during Camp NaNoWriMo months and stuff. So, starting the SEO, do you want to include an introduction video based on that debate, why or why not? And who would I eventually want to collaborate with? Go for this guy. I insist here. You will be surprised who will come and hype up your channel. And some of the people who frequent my channel, I'm just like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because not just because they have so many more subs than I do, but because I admire them to a degree. So go ahead and double check and see, is that someone I can somehow collaborate with? And we will talk about in the future about promos and proposal letters you could be sending and emails to initiate those conversations. So based on the information you've done so far in this lesson, and based on the link I'm going to include attached to it, go ahead and start building your AuthorTube account. What dates do you want to launch your channel? Keep in mind, you have more work ahead. You still haven't even actually built your stream or started recording a video or anything yet. So you're still doing the groundwork. At least list 10 people you can think of right now to help you spread the word. Word of mouth is still, believe it or not, the #1 form of advertising today. So use word of mouth to your advantage whenever possible at all costs. It really is a good way to also kind of utilize social media to your advantage, hence why I've emphasized mentioning all the outlets to cross-promote yourself if you have them already in play. If you would like more information on the next steps, I do look forward to seeing you in episode 5, chapter 5, and thank you so much for completing the halfway point and more to this course. See you soon. Bye!